One of the things that I'm challenged with as a business owner, as a CEO, as an entrepreneur, is this concept of ownership versus oversight. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs are probably not far off that path. What I mean by ownership versus oversight, ownership means that I sometimes feel the burden to carry everything in the company, right? And sometimes that creates a bottleneck. Sometimes that creates lack of trust in the team. Sometimes that creates lack of confidence in the team because they don't think that I have confidence in them. I sometimes think I can also do it better, I can do it quicker, I can do it faster, but that doesn't lead to scale. And so when I try to own everything, it typically creates headwinds for me, not tailwinds. I have a great team. I trust the team. The team continues to grow. But we can only scale so much if I continue to try to own everything. Oversight, which is something I'm challenged with, means I certainly need to know everything that's going on within the company, or at least have an understanding or an idea, but I let other people own it. And I trust that they're gonna get things done. And I trust them to get it done the way that they would get it done. It might not always mean the way I would do it, but ultimately the end game is the same. Like if we're going to Denver, there's multiple ways to get to Denver from where I'm at. You can take a northern route, you can take a southern route, you can take a scenic route. So there's a number of different ways. So they might not go the way that I go, but ultimately they're gonna get to Denver. That's the major difference between ownership and oversight. And I'm challenged with it every single day, and I'm sure you are too as a leader. Sometimes we get in our own way. And so how do we change that? How do we begin to relinquish some of that and move into more oversight versus ownership? Let's dive into that. One of the things when it comes to relinquishing ownership and moving to oversight, first, and I'm challenged with this I come at you human to human on this thing. I deal with this every single day. We have to understand that we don't know it all and we can't do it all. Maybe we could in the beginning. Maybe if our business is small, we can. Maybe we have to be a jack of all trades. But ultimately, that's not going to scale the business or take the business in a direction that probably leads you down a path of where you wanted when you started the business. Most people start a business for more freedom, more money, more time. And a lot of times, again, we become our own bottleneck. So we have to get out of our own way. That's number one. Number two, we have to trust the team. And that's a sliding scale because I do trust the team. Like I trust the team around me, the advisors that run projects, the project leads that lead the projects, the project managers that create and help with all the logistics of the projects. I trust the internal team. I trust Brooke and Lindsay and Madison and Naden to do all the things they're doing with the marketing and the social media and the support. I trust Tony with the finances. She does all the financials. So I do trust. It's not that I don't trust. It's just I sometimes have anxiety when I don't know what is happening in the business. So it's kind of that relationship. It's not them, it's me. And so I have to continuously, consciously and intentionally work on allowing things to happen without me having to know about it. And I'm growing in that area, but I'm certainly not anywhere close to where I need to be. The third thing is you have to begin to think about, and I can't remember who said this, I think it was T.D. Jakes, but he talked about weight distribution. Weight distribution means you have to think about all the weight that's on your shoulders and how do you distribute it amongst people that have the competence and the confidence to do that role. It might be marketing, it might be sales, it might be running projects, it might be helping you with accounting or operations or strategy. But how can you distribute that weight in a way where not everything is weighted on you? Because as the weight gets more and more as the business grows, eventually you get crushed as the entrepreneur, as the CEO, as the founder. And so it's that weight distribution. And then the fourth thing is you have to be honest with yourself. you have to know your limitations. And this is one where I raise my hand and say I've absolutely failed at this, meaning I wanted to go from ownership to oversight overnight. And it just wasn't reality. It just was not me. It wasn't part of my DNA. I have to kind of slowly relinquish this stuff as I drive forward and the business grows. So as you think about where you're at on that journey, right? And it's a sliding scale. There's entrepreneurs that try to own everything. There's some entrepreneurs, and I admire the hell out of them, that just have oversight over everything, and sometimes not even oversight over it all. I truly admire those. Wherever you're at on the scale, how can you tip it in a way and move in a direction that is beneficial for you, your team, and your organization? Wherever you want to go, however you define success, but it starts with being honest with yourself. Because I look in the mirror all the time and realize that sometimes I create the most confusion. I create the most frustration. And I'm working on it. And sometimes I have to have real, authentic conversations with the team that just puts things in what I call the arena, or puts things on the table to tell them that I know that that's an issue. I know that that's a factor, but it's just a reality. And again, it's not them, it's me. And I'm basically telling them that I appreciate their patience. I appreciate them willing to walk down this journey with me. And I've moved from here. I was all the way over to owning everything. And if Oversight's over here, I'd probably move from here to maybe here. I've got a lot of growth to do. And the business has scaled. It's allowed people to do and live into their talents. But again, it's a work in progress. And then the other thing that I have to consciously be aware of is that I'm hindering growth of other people when I don't allow them to show up in a way that highlights their talents and highlights things that are energy for them. So this ownership and oversight concept is something that I battle every single day. And I used to battle it unconsciously and didn't realize it was a major blind spot for me. But now I'm consciously thinking about what am I doing to positively impact that in a way that impacts the business, that impacts our clients, that impacts our people. Because if those three things win, then ultimately I win. And I'm trying to get out of my own way. I guess it comes down to this. Where are you? What shifts do you need to make, if any, that allow you to show up better, create more oversight, let your people flourish and grow, and allow things to happen without you? Because that's why most of us started a business, or most of us run an organization anyway, so things can happen without us. But I also know it's mentally challenging. Hopefully this has resonated with you. Hopefully you found something that you can take away and make a change. Whatever it is, implement it and see what the results are. Best of luck.